Hello and welcome to episode 13 of the Wisdom from the Akasha podcast. My name is Susie. I am an Akashic Records teacher and practitioner. And today I just wanted to share with you an extract from my free workshops that I host usually once every 2 months. Whenever you are listening to this episode, if you go over to my website and you click into the appointments section, you'll see in the drop down menu that there is always a free workshop added on there. And these workshops I do, one, to give you some information about the Akashic Records, which obviously I hope I'm doing here on the podcast as well, but also as an opportunity for you to come and ask any questions that you have. A large portion of these workshops are very much an open question and answer session. It does not have to be just about the Akashic Records. If you are on your spiritual journey, if you're going through your spiritual awakening and you have questions, please do feel free to register for one of these workshops and come and ask questions. There is no such thing as a stupid question, and anybody who makes you feel like any questions that you have are stupid, please just ignore them and move on, okay? The spiritual journey is really difficult. The spiritual journey is hard, and lots of questions are going to come up. And I offer these sessions so that you can come and talk to someone who has been on their spiritual journey for a very long time and hopefully get some guidance about maybe where you're at and practices that you can use to help you through this. I do also try to do lives on Instagram, which are just open Q&A, but from a time perspective, I'm quite restricted in what I can do over there. So if you do have questions and you want the opportunity to come and meet me, have a chat with me, and just come and ask me any questions, then please feel free to sign up for whenever the next workshop is, whenever you're listening to this. In this extract, I give you some information about what the Akashic Records are and what they are not. So I do go a little bit into the many fake versions of the Akashic Records that are out there in the astral realm. And I've also taken an extract of some of the answers that I've given to questions. I have removed the question itself out of respect for the people who are asking the questions, but the answers are in there. I cover a little bit about soul retrieval, about Akashic clearing, about the Akashic business records, and also about our time being the time of the heart chakra. I hope that you enjoy this little extract this week, and I look forward to seeing you all at the next free workshop.
Wherever you are in your spiritual journey, you have come here because you have questions about the Akashic Records, and this is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to talk to you about what the Akashic Records are and also what they are not, because I know there is a lot of misinformation out there. First of all, who am I and why are you all here? So my name is Susie. I am an Akashic Records teacher and a practitioner. Practitioner just means I teach the Akashic Records and I also do one-on-one sessions. I personally have a very long and deep relationship with the Akashic Records. So I absolutely love getting the opportunity to share about this modality with you all. Wherever you are in your spiritual journey, the Akashic Records have found you. The Akashic Records are always going to come into your awareness as and when you are ready to experience them. You all have what's called a magnetic center, okay? And that magnetic center, it's part of your, what we call in the Akashic Records, your light grid, which is your 7 energy bodies. That magnetic center is designed to call into you practices, teachings, teachers, all of that good stuff that you're ready for at certain times. And you'll see this all the time. You'll be investigating a particular topic, and then all of a sudden somebody pops up on your Instagram, or you receive a book recommendation from someone, and it's always the right thing at the right time. And this is because of this magnetic center that you all have. I'm going to start with the basics of what are the Akashic Records, and then we're going to go into what they are not. There is a lot of information out there online. I always say take what resonates, including when I'm talking. If I say something and you're like, that's not my vibe, that's okay. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm saying I'm sharing my perspective. Okay. But I know it can also be very confusing out there online if you try to look up one topic. The Akashic Records are your soul's energetic memory since you left source. Regardless of where your soul has been throughout its evolution, we all come from source. We all come from the same place. Your soul is an individualized fractal of source consciousness. What the soul then does is the soul then goes, I want to have all of these amazing experiences. Which school am I going to go to? And then it'll pick a star system and it'll go there and it'll have time on that school. And then it'll pick another star system. That's what happens. But we all come from the same place. Each incarnation, especially the incarnations on Earth, are a really brief amount of time from the perspective of the Akashic Records. And each incarnation brings with it different experiences, different lessons, different initiations, and your Akashic Records are where all of that information is stored. Think of it like your soul's cloud storage facility. When you access your Akashic Records, whether it's by yourself or via somebody like me, you are accessing that information to try and understand yourself from that zoomed out soul level perspective. It's a much bigger picture perspective of what your soul has experienced. Gaining this soul level perspective can be really helpful because it's much more objective and much more helpful than the programmed and conditioned mind that we all walk around with. And the mind is, of course, what the ego operates through. Because of this objectivity and the clarity that the Akashic Records provide, you are able to understand yourself, your relationships to others, understand the qualities that your soul has, and most importantly, get clarity and get aligned to your soul's purpose, because every soul has a soul purpose. And every soul actually tends to have more than one purpose. You tend to have lots of purposes. Experienced souls, they're not just going to sign up for one lesson in a lifetime. They're going to sign up for as many as they can in a lifetime. They're going to cram that lifetime full with as many lessons and opportunities as they can. The information about things like your soul purpose is contained within what we call in the Akashic Records your soul blueprint. And when we're accessing the Akashic Records, or when you're accessing your own Akashic Records, what you're doing is you're accessing this soul's blueprint. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about what they are not, because these are all the things that you will have seen and heard online, and I just want to clarify these. Number one is you do not have to be perfect, and I say that very much in inverted commas, or spiritually elite, whatever that means, to be able to access your own Akashic Records. Everybody has the right and the ability to access their own Akashic Records. I don't want anyone sitting there thinking, oh, well, I'm not good enough to do that. I'm not spiritual enough. Oh, I still have some inner child stuff to do. It doesn't matter. Okay. We still have that right and that ability to access your own records. Now, this doesn't mean that the records aren't going to point out that you could really do with healing that inner child or doing your shadow work. That might be the first thing that you hear from them, but they can also offer you guidance and methods to help you do this. Your guides in the Akashic Records love you unconditionally and only want what's best for you. They will always offer guidance, never instruction. They're never going to impede upon your free will. No true guide ever will. The Akashic Records are not just a library in the fifth dimension. Lots of people access the Akashic Records and never see a library or a book in their entire experience. The library is more of an analogy to help introduce you to this idea that there's this storage place. There's this book on a shelf. It's got your name on it and it's got your soul's history, but that's not how it presents to most people. The fifth dimension belief is limiting because in truth, the Akashic Records exist over multiple dimensions. If you go into your practice with the Akashic Records and you believe that they're only in the fifth dimension, then you're going to limit your experience with them. And I don't want anyone's experience to be limited with the Akashic Records. I want everyone, when they start experimenting with the Akashic Records, that they go in and like, wow, I'll just see what this is all about. Number three is the Akashic Records are not in the astral realm. There are many fake versions of the Akashic Records in the astral realm, But you'll often see this is what people experience when they have what they call a bad experience with the Akashic Records. People will often reach out to me, or they'll chat to me when I'm in live, and they will say, I went into the Akashic Records and my guides were mean to me. They have not been into the Akashic Records. I can say with 100% certainty, they have been into one of the many fake versions of the Akashic Records that exist in the astral realm. The Akashic Records exist in what we would call the spiritual realm. The astral realm is a different place. Most people don't see anything when they first open up the Akashic Records. And the split is actually around 85% of people are going to feel, or they're going to get a knowing, with 15% seeing or hearing something. It basically depends upon which of your strongest psychic gifts, your clairs, which one of those is the strongest. And if you don't know which one is the strongest, you're going to find out when you start working in your Akashic Records, because that's the sense that you'll feel it with. By working in your Akashic Records consistently, other clairs start coming online. And this is especially true if you ever choose to train up to read the Akashic Records of other people. The Akashic Records are not an intuitive practice. They are a form of channeling. When you have a reading with somebody, the reader is channeling the information for you. When you go into your own Akashic Records, you are channeling the information. The information is coming from outside of you into you. So it's a form of channeling. The Akashic Records, of course, are going to use your intuitive senses to deliver the information, but it's not an intuitive practice. Intuition and the Akasha are two different things. Linda Howe has the best analogy for this, where she says intuition is a drop in the ocean, the Akasha is the ocean. And that's very much how it works. That should give you an idea as to what the records are and what they are not. The light grid is essentially all 7 of your energy bodies combined. We just call it a light grid just for ease of talking about it. In these various energy bodies, you're often going to have energetic stagnation. And sometimes that energetic stagnation is from ancestral wounding. Sometimes that energetic stagnation is from past life trauma. Sometimes the wounding is from current life stuff. Anything that has happened to you throughout all of those different incarnations, the energetic memory of it is stored in this light grid. In Akashic clearing, what's taking place is that stagnation is being moved through your light grid. Clearing is a process to move that stagnation through for you then to go through a transmutation process. And the process is completely safe. It does not remove anything from your Akashic Records. It is undertaken by your Akashic guides and your higher self. And it is just one of the best things for you to do when you're at the stuck stage. Thank you for allowing me to just introduce the Akashic Records and what they are. And I would love to hear any questions you all have. What it sounds like is some souls will choose, I call them dual missioned, where your soul, it goes, think of it like this. It's sitting there before it comes into the Earth incarnation, and it says, I'm going to go to Earth and I want to take all of these lessons. But humans sleep for like 8 hours a night. So why don't I sign up for a job in the astral realm as well? Because I'm going to be sleeping. So I may as well try and experience as much as I possibly can. Is it fate or is it free will? This is one of, I think, probably the biggest spiritual questions that has been asked by spiritual people through the entirety of existence. And like most things, it's both. There is an element, and it all depends upon which dimension you're looking at it from. There is an element of things that we would call fated or destined. From the Akasha perspective, that's the type of thing that you have in your soul blueprint. What lessons did I really want to learn? You also then have things like, why does astrology work? It works because from a cosmological perspective, the energies from a cosmology side are also working with you for certain aspects. However, there is also free will, and free will is one of the hardest things for humans to deal with, because you have to make those decisions. The free will is how quickly am I going to go through these fated experiences? from the Akashic perspective, every single lifetime you're experiencing is happening right now. And I know that just blows our human mind, because our human mind loves the linear. It loves chronology. The intention that I set before I read for every single person who I read for is, what does this person need to know to help them align to what's called their highest timeline? It's you working towards what you think that highest timeline is, and also the universe coming in to help you remove things that are out of alignment to that highest timeline. And also the universe usually tends to have an actual better idea than we do. We tend to limit ourselves very, very much. And a lot of the time it's us getting out of the way. In level 1, I teach you how to read, so access your own Akashic records, get information out, and how to do the clearing as well. It's all in one class. It's over 6 sessions. Yeah. Level 2 is reading for other people, and level 3 is currently clearing for other people, so doing that work for other people. But after this summer, they're just both going to be merged as well. You have business Akashic records. When you learn to go into your own Akashic records, so you can learn how to go into your own, you use, in the method that I teach, you use my prayer, which is a sacred prayer, which was gifted to me from the Akashic records. And just instead of saying your name, you would just say your business name. And because you own that business, you're able to go into its Akashic records. And the business Akashic records are fabulous. The guides are very helpful. But when you have questions in your business, which every business owner does, it's about going in and going, what do I need to do here? If you own the business, you can go into your Akashic records. If you own percent, you're also okay to go in your Akashic records. It gets a bit more complicated when people have multiple shareholders and things like that. But if it's just your business that you run, it's no problem. Soul retrieval is a process where your soul at some point in your incarnation has fragmented. Usually to do with it's experienced a trauma, and parts of your soul are fragmented off. And then what you are doing with soul retrieval is you are inviting those fragments off, because they have free will. We do clearing before soul retrieval because what you're always wanting to do is you're wanting to make your light grid, so those 7 energy bodies, the best possible place for those fragments to come back to. Because if your energy bodies are the same as when those fragments went, and you try to do a soul retrieval, those fragments are going to say, I'm not going back there. Nothing's been done, nothing's been healed. If you get yourself to a place where you've done a lot of work on yourself, you've healed a lot of things, and you've got your light grid nice and strong and as clear as you can, and then you invite those fragments back, you're more likely to get those fragments back. In the instances where I have done soul retrieval, or when someone has done soul retrieval on themselves and they have done this work, it's a beautiful process. Your entire reality is designed to help you get on your highest timeline. Everything that is happening around you is trying to get you there. It doesn't feel like it sometimes, but it's all about getting you through your evolution and to the highest timeline possible. You can't make a wrong decision. And just always look at, am I trying to do my best? And does doing your best mean you're going to be perfect? Absolutely not, because you're in a human incarnation. Like, they're hard. The human incarnation is hard, but it's about going, okay, so if I was angry today and I snapped at somebody, have I apologized? See everything in your life as what's this trying to teach me? That's the best thing that you can do. Also, actually allowing yourself to feel all the emotions that you have, because oftentimes we're programmed and conditioned to believe that these emotions are good and these emotions are bad. So you're allowed to feel these ones, but you're not allowed to feel these ones. And actually, by giving yourself permission and space to feel all of the feelings, that's transmute. Because anytime you don't feel an emotion, you're essentially putting it into your light grid as energetic stagnation. And then, of course, that then impacts what's going on. The heart chakra is the chakra of our evolutionary time. I know people are obsessed with the third eye, but actually from an evolutionary perspective, from a soul's journey perspective, we're in the time of the heart chakra. The Christ consciousness, unconditional love, that's the heart chakra. And the heart is about surrender and trusting and trying to see every opportunity as an opportunity, even if it's really difficult. And of course, giving yourself unconditional love as well, because lots of people are very quick to pour out unconditional love to everybody that they meet, but they're not so quick to give it to themselves.